Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting into 2025 on a Wednesday night. It's going to be our first race of the new year for these Wednesday night drivers as we enter into the second half of the season. It's been a while since we've been on track. December 18th of 2024, where Gavin Rogers found himself in victory lane at the Red Bull Ring. But tonight, we go back to traditional. We're back onto the oval surface as we are at Kansas Speedway, and excited to give you the coverage once again here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer, and we're happy to have you with us. If this is your second broadcast of the year on Freaky Fast, as we just had our charity race this past Saturday, thank you so much to everyone that was a part of being on track, those that donated, shared, and watched the stream. And one of those that was on track for a little bit, had some fun. We've got Richard Wilsifer, as usual, up in the booth with us. Richard, welcome into 2025, and man, it is exciting to be back to WSSR coverage.
Hey, Sam, man, it's excited to be back up here in the booth. I wasn't here for the Red Bull Ring, sadly, but we're back to open up the 2025 year for the WSSR here at Kansas. Glad to be back up here. And yeah, the charity race this past weekend was a blast. Was on track for a little bit. Did have some technical difficulties on my end that didn't allow me on the track as long, but it was a blast to be on the track. Had a lot of fun. Glad to been a part of such a wonderful charity event from Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So, but ready to see the action here at Kansas as we return, like you said, back to the oval side of racing.
Oval side, race number 7 of the schedule so far. As we take a look at the 16 machine at Joshua Kanata, we have 32 drivers expected to take the green here tonight as we're currently underway with qualifying. Drivers given 5 minutes to put down their fastest time and only 2 laps to do so. Currently, it's Seth Knoll who's going to be on top of the board for the 57 machine. Also, looks like we'll be swapping hands. It's now Tom Sinchek as the field's starting to ramp up with speed. Qualifying going to be important to make sure you're in a good spot to start tonight's race off. I mean, Richard, this is a track where we know track position can be very key to make sure that you have a good evening.
Yeah, track position, like a lot of these oval tracks, is going to be a very important thing. So a lot of these drivers trying to get their fastest lap time here, like you do in qualifying, get as far up into the field as they possibly can, as we ride along right now with Drew Jua, getting ready to put down his first lap, down with his warm-up. So coming out turn 1 and 2, right in the outside, almost taps the wall there. Don't want to hit the wall, because if you tap that wall and get any kind of a contact incident points, then it will invalidate your lap. But he is riding the outside line there, right up against the wall. It looks like he's going to try to get one of his fastest laps down here as he get ready to complete lap 1. And that will place him smooth 12th position right now.
Good, solid 12th place position for the 88, who we've seen work through the field from the back to up front. So if he's in the middle of the field, not the worst place to be if you're Drew Jua, as he's trying to get himself even faster lap. Looking like actually that first lap that he had wasn't validated. The previous one we just watched was his official lap time. So this is just extra lappage as he scrubs the wall. That was also going to invalidate if this lap was his final, as the 88 crosses the line. Having fun right now. It's going to be the newcomer of Seth Knowles going to be top of the board for the 57. Tom Sinchek going to be second, as these drivers getting ready for what is going to be the 5th time the WSSR has been racing at Kansas. We're in here 4 times previously. Last time was back in Season 8. Cedric Hunter in the 13 machine, about to be finishing off his first lap. Now starting the second, going to be a 32.5. That's good enough for 24th on the first lap for the 13.
A great lap from Cedric Hunter as we jump over to Gavin Rogers now, the prior winner over at the Red Bull Ring. So he's going to try to defend that winning title as he sets up for this lap. Currently in the 12th position, setting up for his second lap here, riding again that outside line. We're going to see a lot of drivers up on that outside line tonight. It's going to be probably the fastest way around here at Kansas, which we normally see a lot of drivers on the inside, but Gavin doing a really good job keeping that car nice and smooth. Not a lot of mistakes coming from Rogers as he comes out of turn 4 to complete his final lap of qualification. Let's see if he can set his car up further into the field, and he will qualify second. Outside pole for Gavin Rogers.
For Gavin Rogers was trying to be the first driver. He broke the streak of having 6 different winners. He cut it down to just only 5 different winners so far this season. Rogers has 2 wins after that last race victory. He also continued the streak of 6 different pole sitters, and with no one else out on track and qualifying coming to a close, the streak continues. It's 7 races, 7 different pole sitters, as Knoll continues on that streak. We've seen Larry Yingling, Zach Hall, Chad Wilkes, James Scioli, Tom Sinchik, Gavin Rogers, and now add Seth Knoll to our different pole sitters this season, just showing how equal it is. There's so many drivers that have a chance to show and improve their speed. As tonight's drivers will now enter their 5-minute warm-up period to see who can find a little bit extra speed, as well as figure out where their pit stall is going to be for this race. It gives us time to take a closer look at how this season has been going. Talked about where drivers have been getting the poles. Well, let's take a look at our schedule points, so far this season. As a driver that's got the most wins so far, Gavin Rogers, top of the board. That 75 has looked quick all season long, but hot on his tails is John Forbes Jr., Zach Hall, Nick Crawford, Larry Yingling. But the portion that's looking the most fun, it's that cutoff spot. Top 16 make the playoffs as we enter the second half of the season. Richard, there are some drivers that are outside looking in. First being Vincent Sora, our 2-time champion of the WSSR.
Yeah, Vincent Sora, again, he's been having a rough time this season, but good to see him right there just outside of the cut line. And he is tied for 16th, so he is right there on the cusp of being in that top 16 to have a chance for a championship. But even from 16th all the way down to 21st of Chris Stitz, that is only a 5-point difference that separate those drivers. Heck, you can even go all the way up to 14th from Jarrett Talmadge down to the 21st position, and it's even close 6 points. So the points battle for that final cutoff position is going to be one to watch the rest of the season, and who is going to finalize those final 16 positions to get into the championship races.
And also that 16th spot, not just safe. Cody Reed, who's down in 26th in points, if he can somehow sneak into the top 25, he will get a playoff berth because of his win at Atlanta to start the season off. So you might want to be inside of the top 15 to be fully secured as we again enter the second half of this season. We move from the point standings and take a look at our season schedule and how it has been looking so far. We started off the season at the current Atlanta, then went to Pocono, Auto Club, Atlanta 08, Nashville Super Speedway, and it was the Red Bull Ring, our last race that we had before heading into our holiday break that we have now concluded. I hope everyone enjoyed their holidays with Christmas and New Year's, but these next 6 races we have: Kansas, Phoenix, Darlington, Road America, Milwaukee Mile, and finishing off the regular season at the 08 Daytona. We got a fun schedule in front of us.
Yeah, a lot of really great tracks to watch coming up. You know, a couple ones you don't normally see, like Road America. The Xfinity Series will normally race there, but here we are with WSSR taking the Cup cars there. That'll be a fantastic race to watch to see what these guys can do. And then we're also returning to the Milwaukee Mile on February 5th. So a lot of fantastic tracks, a lot of fantastic racing still to come for the rest of this regular season before those final 6 races that come up to crown a champion for season 10.
Playoffs, eliminations, going to be a blast to watch, but that's not until we get to the middle of February. But we first also want to say thank you to the amazing sponsors that have helped out for the WSSR Cup Series for Season 10. First being GTR Simulators. Head on over to gtrsimulators.com and check out their wide variety of racing rigs. They are so proud to be partnering up with the team Kicksalver, as you can go to gtrsimulators.com and remember to use the promo code WSSR for 10% off. That's again is gtrsimulators.com. Go experience pro level racing from home with their GTA Compact V2 Stake F1 Team Kicksalver today. Thank you again to GTR Simulators, as well our trophy provider from Trophy Smack. If you're looking for championship trophies, from trophies themselves to belts to rings to more, they've got you covered from pre-made to you can customize it to your own liking. Head to trophysmack.com and remember to use the promo code WSSR Smack for 10% off. Thank you so much again to GTR Simulators and Trophy Smack as we are concluding warm-ups. We're about to be entering into an 150 lap race here at Kansas Speedway. We will have a stage break here tonight at the end of lap 35. No fast repairs, 4 extra sets of tires. These drivers expected to go around 60 to 65 laps on fuel. Richard, this is going to be a fun one. I'm excited on the fact that this is the first race back from our break off. I think it's going to help these drivers get into a very much better rhythm for the second half of the season.
Yeah, this is your typical oval track that you see NASCAR usually on, so it's a great track to watch these guys come back from a long break from the holidays to get their feet back wet, to get the rhythm, like you said, to continue the rest of this season into the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm getting ready, getting excited for this race. It's going to be a fun one to watch, and can't wait to see what kind of action we see on track.
Again, 32 drivers expected to take the green here tonight. Let's take a look at where they will starting off here this evening. Taking the pole and continuing the streak, our 7th different pole sitter of the season. It's the 57, Seth Knoll, who's going to be starting to his outside. It's Gavin Rogers in the 75, hoping to continue on his own streak and wants to make it 2 in a row after winning at the Red Bull Ring on our last course. Behind him, he's got Thompson Jack, GT Irizarry back in 5th. It's going to be the 11 of John Forbes Jr. with Ken Campbell in 6th. 7th, we find Vincent Sora, who's on his charge after a poor start in the season. He wants to make sure he's secured in the top 16 in points, starting in 7th here tonight. In 8th, we find the 3 of Ryan Kelly with Joshua Kanata starting 9th and finishing out our top 10. I think the driver to really watch out for, it's the 67 of Larry Yingling.
Starting back in 11th is Christopher Norris. A strong start for another not so strong season so far. Look forward to see what he could do today. And starting just outside of him in 12th is Nick Crawford. Jarrett Talmadge back in 13th position with Christopher Wade in the 53, starting just outside him in the 14th position. In 15th position, we got Ross Tatum in the 21 with Ali Fonseca in the 24, just outside of him. Row 9, we got Samuel S. Garcia in the number 50, and on the outside of him in the 18th is Cody Reed, our season open winner. And then after Cody Reed, we got 19th position is going to be Ryan Ferrero, and rounding out the top 20 will be Drew Drua, starting about the middle of the field to see if he can make his way back up to the front from the back.
Another driver to watch out for starting in 21st position. It's the 8 of Brian McCann. Andrew Medlin in the 12 will be starting in 22nd position. Chad Wilkes expected a little bit more from qualifying, but watch out for the race pace for the 6. He'll be starting down in 23rd. Levi Cox, a driver that's found himself in victory lane all the way back in season 3 here at Kansas for WSSR. He starts deep in the field in 24th for the 99. Justin Malarkey needs to have a strong performance here if he wants to start to make that top 16 push. He'll start 25th with Cedric Hunter back in 26th position. Ryan Noel in the 00 will start all the way down in 27th position with Danny Cochran in 28th. Shane Terrian all the way down in 29th place. He's the fastest during practice. Hopes to find some speed here during race pace. Back in 30th, it's last season's champion in the 1 of Zach Hall with Brandon Colley and Chris Stitz. Finishing out our 32 drivers this evening. As the drivers are leaving pit road, about to be stacked up and ready to go. Richard, I mean, it's back to racing. What do you think these drivers are thinking in these first 35 laps? This is going to be our first stage back after a 3-week break. We got a lot of rust to kick off as we're about to go green.
all really just depends on how much racing these guys have done during the break themselves. So it could be a time just to take it easy and kind of get your bearings in driving these cars again. But a lot of these drivers, especially some in the back, those of like Zach Hall and Cedric Hunter, they could be wanting to just get up there and get to that top 10 to get those stage points. So we'll see what the strategies pan out for these drivers as we get ready to take the green flag.
Pace car pulls off into pit road. Welcome into 2025 Season 10. Race number 7 at Kansas Speedway is underway. It's Seth Knoll as well as Gavin Rogers going to be side by side as we roar down into turn number 1. It's a clean launch here, Richard, as it's the 57 with the nose ahead.
57 getting the nose ahead. That is the benefit of starting in the pole position, but Gavin Rogers is not going to give it up that easy as he's going to fall in right behind him. So they're going to line up, but they're fanning out behind him, going 3 wide into turn 3 at a couple of spots. These drivers are wanting to get up front. They are not wanting to wait. It is action right off the get-go.
It's going to be the battling around 5th down to 6th place, where they were the first drivers to be side by side for a quick moment. Saw one driver down on the apron when we initially started. That was JT Irizarry starting on pit road. Going to be all the way in the back of the field after qualifying in 4th. So their speed in the 14. He's got a long way to go to get back up front. As Seth Knoll, great launch for the 57. He is taking position and willing to be up front as Gavin Rogers settles in. Wait and see where you want to be as the middle of the pack still scattered 2-3 wide back in the 10th on back window. But up front, it's all single file as Seth Knoll trying to pull away.
Seth Knoll doing a great job maintaining the lead after these first couple of laps. Gavin just kind of looks like he's just falling in line here, trying to take it easy, waiting for the right moment to make his move, it seems. But a lot of these drivers are still shuffling back here past the 10th position, trying to get up there, make these passes where they're necessary. So we'll see what they can do as we're right along with, it looks like the 38 Christopher Norris doing a good job there as he's about to get passed by Drew Jua, who is taking no time working his way up through the field.
Drew Jua, biggest mover so far, up now 9 positions after that 2-for-1 special off the exit turn 4. And I know it's a little bit difficult, Richard. There's a couple of drivers entering with different schemes here tonight. I guess some of the drivers came together and said, let's make it a SpongeBob race. And there's about 5 different SpongeBob machines out there. The 11 of John Forbes, I know, is running one, as well as the 16 of Kanata, 27 of Jared Tolomich, 38 of Christopher Norris, and the 34 of Ollie Fonseca, all having a little bit of a splash. As you see here, Christopher Wade, a driver who's looking for a change-up. Again, he's continued to have some troubles at splitting the middle and split the gap. Nick Crawford with the daring move as Drew Jua attempted another 2-for-1 special. Doesn't work out. He'll stall with Vincent Sordo who's outside, but that 53 of Christopher Wade, he needs a solid performance here tonight. Just wants to find some good luck to finish a good, solid finish this evening.
And sometimes luck is all you need also just for a good finish. So looks like he's about to get passed on the inside by Christopher Norris as well on those 3 wide going into turn 1. But he's hoping they have a nice clean race just like that of Vincent Sora, who's also looking for some luck as well. So great racing already happened. Looks like Christopher Wade is still trying to chase down Ollie Fonseca here and maybe get another position back.
And there's going to be on the outside in the gray machine, looking like a stealth bomber. He is quick, and he is being a little bit sneaky. It's the 99 of Levi Cox, who also is now up 10 positions, is our newest, biggest mover of the evening, with trying to make this pass over Christopher Wade. And on the outside, using a lot of this rubber. And Richard, I mean, this is the gamble for some drivers. It's get through the field quick, or you just save your tires and hope that you've got some sneaky speed later on in the run.
These drivers going to try and save some of their tires, see if they have some late run speed here. Zachary Hall back here, our last season defending champion, just kind of taking it easy. It looks like he's got a lot of cars in front of him to try to make it up to that top 10 to get any kind of stage points, but he could just be kind of riding around here, maybe just biding his time and get the positions after the stage to move up when it's safe.
See what it's like also. Again, stage break, first one going to be the end of lap 35 as Great top 10 drivers get stage bonus points for themselves. And if you look at the past trends here at Kansas, the first 3 times they raced at this course, it was 7 to 8 cautions each race that they had. Last time they ran here, though, back in season 8, they were in a completely different vehicle. They were running the Gen 4 Cup car variant of the ARCA machine when iRacing had their little mix-up of what machine was on the ARCA, what speed you could have. They only had 1 caution that night. Now, I think for some of the field, some of the veterans of the series, is Larry Yingling getting very close to that outside wall. Curious on what type of Kansas race will we have? Will we have that just 1 caution at the stage, or will we have multiple as everyone's trying to show their speed? Currently right now is John Forbes Jr. going to be moving up to 5th place for the 11.
Yeah, Kansas Motor Speedway tends to have a pretty relaxed kind of driving style for these drivers, so I would not doubt if we have another race where we only have the stage break caution as the only caution for the race. So, but it's in the driver's hands. It depends on how aggressive they want to be to get these positions, or if they're just gonna take it easy and take it slow and try to work their way around the track and wait a little bit later in the race. So very easy track generally for these drivers, and glad this is a very cookie cutter track, as you could say, for the return back from the holidays.
Talk the rust off. A lot of these drivers, they know this type of a course. Take it easy, and you should be rewarded later on. Be aggressive, hope for an early caution, and it might work out. And with the fact this stage is only the first 35 laps, might be those that are more aggressive that get rewarded big time for themselves. See Forbes trying to catch up to Sinchek as well as Kelly. I think Ryan Kelly in the 3 be a driver to watch out for later on in this run if they find some speed. Same for Gavin Rogers. Seth Knoll has already pulled up to over a 1.5, a little bit under a 1.5 second gap over Gavin Rogers, and trying to continue with that speed. And looking throughout the field, still in the middle of the pack is the danger zone, but up front, single file, and it's just wait your turn for when you want to take off and go. As here's that madness I was talking about. It's Shane Tarian on the move. That Navy machine now up to 22nd position, up 7 spots, and trying to make his way forward now after seeing that mess. He doesn't want to be behind it. It's take off and go as he races around the 21 now of Ross Tato.
Yeah, Shane Tarian doing a phenomenal job. The driver in the field that uses the controller, which a lot of the other drivers are using their steering wheel and pedals. So it's a phenomenal feat to watch this guy drive as fast as he can while using a controller. So he's doing a good job. That Navy machine looking really strong as well, right on the inside line there. So hopefully good to see him, see if he can get up and have another great top 10 finish like he did a couple of weeks ago.
And also one of the drivers that led the most laps here. Last time we ran back in season 8, led 43 of 166 laps that night. And we had some issues later on in the evening that took away from a chance for victory lane. It was Ben Nelson that won that race. Ben Nelson's actually won the last 2 races. Last driver to win this course in this same Gen 7 Next-Gen machine was actually Vincent Clora in the 51. And we've seen in the past here, as we switched back to the Next-Gen vehicle, wherever we haven't run the Next-Gen, last time that we ran there, that was the driver that performed well. So the 51 might be the driver that could find some sneaky speed, but currently Sora running back in 12th position. Here's more drivers further in the back. Here's the 8 machine of Brian McCann, who I was expecting to be moving forward, really has been struggling a little bit here. Seeing also Chris Stitz, he's moved up a few spots. The biggest loser of drivers have lost a lot of positions. Christopher Norris, he's lost 16 spots. As we hop on board with the 8 machine and get a sense of what it's like running all the way back here deep in the field in 25th position and seeing all the drivers in line in front of you.
Yeah, it's a great view for everyone at home to watch and see what these drivers see from their point of view, and seeing all those cars around the track in front of them. And then just trying to search for any kind of clean air also to try to get that car to stick a little bit better, because when you're behind another car, that air turbulence, that you lose a little bit of downforce on the front end, the car doesn't want to turn as well. So trying to drive around the track, find some clean air to get the run you need and be able to get that car to stick to make passes necessary, as Brian doing everything he can right now to try and move forward as he decides to take the high side to try to get around this number 10.
I want to say thank you to all the viewers that are joining with us as we are about halfway through the stage. Again, stage break at the end of lap 35. Top 10 drivers get stage bonus points. And if you're just joining us for the first time here in WSSR, curious on which driver maybe you're rooting for or which scheme you think is nice to see, or if you've been here for the whole season, who is your favorite here tonight to get into victory lane? Currently, 7-hole is making a statement being up front, just trying to continue to pull away from Gavin Rogers and co. As we see the 0-0 of Brian Noel in 15th position. He's trying to slowly march his way forward. He got started deep in the field. Currently the biggest mover, up 12 spots is the 0-0 as he runs in 15th.
Yeah, the 0-0 Brian Noel doing a great job here in 15th position, up 2 spots right now. So they're still racing side by side, and a lot of side-by-side racing still happening throughout the track. So it's great to see these drivers are not wanting to just get in line and ride around. They're still wanting to race each other like racers like to do, and they're putting on a great show with it as well.
As driver ducks down low, that's the 25 of Cody Reed, showing a little bit of looseness off the exit of turn 2. Kind of checking everyone up. Is Samuel Garcia in the 50 going to be stuck in the middle, 3 wide for a quick moment. Tatum, Danny Cochran, everyone on the outer groove was hoping to move forward, but the 50 stalls them out, and it's Shane Terrian that's going to be rewarded for the 9 going high. But will that continue to have the great momentum forward? Doesn't look like it will be so, as the 9 almost brushes the outside wall, and drivers trying to carry their momentum, but you're starting to see the wear and tear on the tires 20 laps in, and it's already showing right here, Richard, of the fact of, I don't know if a lot of these drivers, those have been being the biggest movers, they're starting to show the rear ends are not happy this late into the run as Terrian slaps the wall for 4.
Yeah, that is a downside. If you were trying to go 0 to hero basically in the first part of the run, you're going to destroy those tires and you're going to lose pace to the drivers that decided to kind of take it easy and try to take care of those tires, because the hotter they get, the more angry they become, and you lose grip, which means that you do not have faster times like the other guys who's kind of saved. So it's a trade-off when you want to go fast right off the bat and not save anything, because you're going to lose that pace in the later part of the run, and it's starting to show for some of these drivers.
Still, again, this is all battling just outside of the top 15 for Brian Noel and the 0-0. He's got Cody Reed in the 21 Rostam and Danny Cochran behind that machine. Up front, there's a few drivers going back and forth. It's currently the battle for 4th place. John Forbes trying to get by Ryan Kelly for 4th position, and seen some other drivers move forward. There's a Hello Kitty machine. That's going to be the 13 of Cedric Hunter, as everyone's trying to go back and forth between one another. Big surprise, though. I thought at this point we would see maybe Gavin Rogers or Tom Senchak start to reel in Seth Knoll, but Knoll is keeping up the rapid pace and showing 0 drop-off. This 57 machine is looking very quick right now and somehow is keeping up this pace. I don't know if you're shocked by that, Richard, but I am flabbergasted in the fact that 57 is still putting down these quick pace laps.
Yeah, he's doing a wonderful job. It's definitely taken me by surprise. I would not have been able to expect a driver like that to be able to keep the pace he's been doing and still maintaining that massive lead, especially over drivers like Gavin Rogers and Tom Senchak, who are some of the fastest drivers, including John Forbes. So a great job from Seth Noel. He's doing a wonderful job today. He's must have figured something out about Kansas, and it is just fitting the way he drives, and he is proving it tonight.
He certainly is proving it as this 57 continues to stay out front over 2 seconds, almost 2.5 seconds ahead of Gavin Rogers, Tom Senchak, and also John Forbes, as we are still clicking down the laps. End of lap 35 is the end of the stage, as drivers in the middle of the field having their own moments at times. It really looks like it's everyone from 15th on back that we were looking at previously. They are still giving us the best show of drivers on top of one another. And here's another shot of those groups. This is outside of the top 20. This is 20th, 21st, and 22nd on screen. Watching the likes of Samuel Garcia as well as Christopher Norris side by side. They've got Brian McCann behind them, and in front of them they also have Cody Reed and Chris Stitz going side by side. It's a feast time. Some drivers are really reaping the reward at this moment as drivers are falling away on the grid.
Christopher Norris also is back on the charge, as he was 6 positions down from his start, but he is moved back up to where he had originally started at. So good to see him finally back moving forward. It must have been just a little bit of tire saving, letting the drivers fall off that were trying to run a bit hard off the start. So, but still kind of a hornet's nest past him, about 25th on back. As he gets into the wall a little bit there, but able to keep it straight, and he's going to lose a position though.
Gets in the wall, gets in Cody Reed. They both stay side by side into turn 2, and Brad McCann might be getting a sense that it's time to get by these two as quickly as possible. As Norris and Reed exit out of turn number 2, they give each other plenty of space after that scary moment, and they live for another lap to be ran. As you're seeing behind them, now going to be seeing the 14 of GT Rosario, got a driver that started on pit road and was just on the tail of the field when he got back out on track at the initial start of this race. So instead of starting 4th, he had to start from last, and now up to 24th position following Zach Hall. Here's another 3 wide showing. You got Brandon Colley on the bottom middle, Shane Terrian, Andrew Medlin on the outside groove. As these drivers are battling for 26th, 27th, 28th, and Brandon Colley, hold on. This 78 goes for a ride off of 2.
A little bit of a ride coming off of 2. They were 3 wide. Shane, it seemed, might have gotten just a little bit of loose and got into the front of Brendan Colley there, but he did a good job keeping that car controlled and back up onto the track. Let's see if he can regain the ground that he lost as he's racing alongside Christopher Wade right there, still on the inside. But great to see Brandon Colley saving that car and still working to make that charge forward.
Trying to make that charge forward. We speed him up forward. We can move up to the drivers just inside of our top 10. Here's 9th and 10th place runners, so Nick Crawford and Larry Yingling. Moving even further up from them, here's the battle for 5th place. It's Vincent Sora as well as Ken Campbell going side by side, trying to figure out a way to get by the 11 of John Forbes. And Ken Campbell on the move in the 15. He's excited. Excited, especially on the fact that he made a new partnership coming to the end of 2024, teaming up with Team Conti and trying to get faster on track. That's the ultimate goal. So he gave that report on his YouTube channel of Campbell Racing. And when you partner up with such a legacy group and a known fast drivers on iRacing, they're going to give you plenty of knowledge. And the 15 is showing some quick pace as they're trying to figure out for Sora as well as Campbell how to get by Forbes.
Yeah, Ken Campbell doing a great job, and Team Conti is one awesome group to learn some stuff from. And Ken is doing a good job here, still sitting behind the 11 of John Forbes, doing a great job here, not giving up, as Vincent Sora is still trying to close those gaps and try to get around. But Ken Campbell looking to make it 3 wide, got his nose out there from John Forbes, but he's going to back off, take the smart route there, and not force the issue when it's not necessary.
You had to squeeze, wiggle, and you didn't know who was going to give up the space. And it was Ken Campbell that decided, let's give a little bit more space to the 11 with all the movement that was happening. And it's going to give plenty of space to Vincent Sora to clear, move up to 4th. And that was a great move for himself. But I think biggest surprise driver, we saw his big moves earlier and closing into this battle for 4th place. Running 8th, it's the 88 of Drew Jua who's ripping the top with Ryan Kelly. They're wanting to get in the mix on seeing who's going to be in the top 5 at the end of this stage as we're coming up to 2 laps to go in the stage.
Drew Jua doing what he has done every single race this season so far, starting in the back half of the field and charging his way forward. Something has got him just knowing how to drive these tracks and get through the field, because he is working to get up into that top 5 potentially to end this stage. But stage points are important to him, it seems, as he has been up there and fighting for it every single race so far.
Drew Jua entering tonight 10th, in points. He lost 7 spots and was hoping to have a better run here tonight to recapture and get closer into saying he's fighting for the regular season championship. And these stage bonus points could be crucial on making things a little bit closer with the end of the regular season going to be in a few months, as that Knoll kind of looks like he's in his own zip code, as Drew Jua going to drop down low for himself to get by Kelly, and Kelly will stay high. Again, this is battling for 7th place for themselves. Battle for 10th place in points. That's Larry Yingling and Danny Cochran, as Cochran and the 2 just about to make the pass over the 67 to get those bonus points. And Danny Cochran A huge rebound from last season to this season. He has really found his own footing for this two machine as he is trying to make one of his best WSSR performances, and he is proving that this season is not a fluke as he continues to march his way forward.
Yeah, it is great seeing Danny Cochran up here racing in these top 10 positions. He has been surprised also with some of his finishes, but Larry Yingling right on his tail trying to get to that final position for stage points, but it does not look like he's going to do it, and Danny Cochran will finalize the final of the 10 positions for here in stage 1.
Your top 10 stage bonus points going to be Seth Noel, going to be in that 57. Noel really showed some great pace all throughout that run, and it came up to a 4-second lead at the time of caution. Kevin Rogers going to fall to second place with Vincent Sora third, Tom Senchuk fourth, fifth goes to John Forbes, Ken Campbell, Ryan Kelly, Drew Jua, Nick Crawford, and Danny Cochran. You can see how those staged bonus points are divvied out on the left, and it is going to be a quick give out and go. What a run for this field. It's kind of knocking the rust off for the drivers out on track, knocking the rust off for us. What a charge there, Richard, as the field's now catching up pace car about to be making their way into pit road.
Yeah, the number 57 Kane's machine of Noel. He's doing a wonderful job. I cannot believe he had that kind of pace. I'm not going to lie. Just to be able to charge that far ahead and maintain the lead and just keep pulling away with it. But stage winner, and that's going to be one nice chip on his shoulder.
Certainly will be. We'll talk to Seth after we finish up his pit stop here. But again, I want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us this evening. We're back into 2025 as this week going to be a short week. Got 2 races to give you as we have the WSSR Cup Series here this evening, and we will be back giving you the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series tomorrow night as the drivers just have 2 more races left in the season on Thursday evening, and cannot wait to see how that season concludes with the Bowie Esports drivers, Brandon Bowie and Brandon Six, going back and forth for the championship. But into pit road is the 57 clean entry, same for Gavin Rogers saw behind. And the race off of pit road is going to be a good one to watch out for. But one driver, big mistake. That's Ken Campbell that really threw away a good entry. Also, it sounds like the 9 of Shane Tarian missing his pit box. He's got to go all the way around as Seth Noel going to be the driver that gets the launch off of pit road. It will be our race off the pit road winner and stage winner as we will see if we can pull up the 57, get how he's feeling after these 35 laps as we go down. 57 is Seth. It's Sam and Richard up the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, stage winner, and you made it look easy. How's this 57 feeling? Because that looked like a huge dominant run at the start.
Really loose. This thing is really edgy, like center off. I feel good. I feel like I can do better on my tires than I did right there, and we were class of the field right there, so I feel like we're setting up well for 110-ish laps to go here, and see how it plays out.
Yeah, it was a dominant stage win there for you, Seth. And said the car was loose. Do you think that there's anything else that you could do to save the tires, or do you think that the other guys might have something in the tank that they might be hiding?
I mean, I just gotta set myself up better for the long run. It's gonna get loose no matter what. That's just how the car's gonna build. But how I set myself up to where I'm not so slidey, save a little bit more right front so that I can set up the right rear a little bit better on exit, and see if I can just keep the right rear a little bit cooler.
Well, we can't wait to see how you're going to perform that, Seth. Congratulations on the stage win. Enjoy it, and good luck. Hopefully, we're talking to you at the end of this race.
I appreciate you, boys.
That's going to be the Lucky Ducks driver, Seth Noel, who's going to be starting up front. He's got Vincent Sordo who's outside. John Forbes going to be in a third for the 11. Gavin Rogers back and forth. So we'll see how Rogers is going to make this charge forward as Vincent Sora is taking advantage there, and see how the field wants to react. Seth Noel going to be the driver that really put on a class act there. Had over a 4-second gap lead over second place at the end of the stage. Can he build that gap up, or will competition rise as we enter into the restart zone? We are green once again at Kansas. Now it's about who's going to get the win, as we've got ourselves a lot of racing to go, and the 57 wasting no time to get ahead.
The sprint is over, and now it's for the long distance run of the 57. A phenomenal start, great jump as he was getting control of that restart. But he's got the likes of Vincent, Sora, Drew Jua, and Gavin Rogers and John Forbes all chasing him down. 4 monster drivers in his rearview mirror. Let's see if he can do what he did in stage 1, but save a little bit more tires and be the class of the field yet again for this long run of racing that we've got left.
We saw a couple of drivers really march through the field early on. Drew Jewell was one of them, as well as this 99 of Levi Cox. And it looks like for Levi, he's right back to where he wants to be. Top of the track, ripping the wall and trying to carry as much momentum as possible. As you see the SpongeBob machine that's Ollie Fonseca in front of him. But Richard, I mean, already going straight to the top. Like you said, the sprint's over. It's the marathon now. And the 99 looks like he's still in sprint mode.
Bill in sprint mode trying to get up through the field. Not going to save his tires, it seems, but it could be that outside might be a better way of saving tires than the inside, and that's probably what he might have figured out. But sticking to that outside lane, trying to make up position. He's making the passes, but will this be something that helps him here in the short run, or will it bite him in the longer run before he can even make a pit stop to get new tires?
A good question to line up as the run continues on. Currently, it's Seth Noel going to be top of the board as he was our stage winner. Almost already up to a second lead over second place of Vincent Sora, who's backing off his pace and holding back Rogers and Forbes that stay side by side for third position. And this is an interesting thing to see, is the fact that no one's trying to keep pace with Noel. They are letting that 57 drive on by as the battling from 10th on back. They get frisky with one another, as you're seeing Gavin Rogers as well as Drew Jua working the top now.
Yeah, Gavin Rogers and Drew Jua getting past. Drew Jua passing Gavin Rogers. They're trying to challenge for John Forbes. So we got a car going through the grass there, but
Sinchek in the 26 who goes into the grass.
Able to keep it smooth, though, gets back up into the field without causing any further issues. So great work by him. But yeah, it's definitely strange seeing these guys not try to make a charge and try to catch Seth Noel. So either Seth's figured something out and doesn't really feel like he needs to save as much as he thought, or the other guys know something that we don't. But only time will tell. But, you know, tire saving is huge. So we'll see if these guys have got some later pace to try to catch Seth before these pit stops happen. Because, I mean, you got 35 laps for the stage, but their fuel can go 60, 65. So we'll see what those tires can do in a very long run.
We'll see how much the drivers, if they're going to go for the straight down the middle split, or if they're thinking about turning this race into a 2-stop from here due to the fact of how much tire wear these drivers were dealing with the slipping and sliding. Update on Tom Sinchek going into the grass. It was just a wicked snap off the exit of turn 4, all on his own, that darted the 26 into pit road. That exit of 4, if you're cranking the wheel trying to stay off the wall, it easily can snap quickly into the grass. As we're seeing on screen, the 21 of Ross Tatum currently battling the 74 of Nick Crawford. This is a battle for 7th pit position, as they also have Danny Cochran behind. And Ryan Machine, biggest mover so far here tonight, up 19 spots from where he started. Also another big mover, Cedric Hunter. He was really patient on those tires, had a good pit stop, and a 13 is willing to stay up front, willing to go on the charge. And this is that fun of stage racing and having those first 35 laps. A lot of knowledge can be brought in of, do I need to be a little bit more aggressive into the long run? Can I be more patient in figuring out those numbers of where you want to be at? Richard, this is action that just continues to go back and forth. The joys of fresh rubber. These drivers continue to stay side by side in the middle of the field as this battle for 8th place just won't relinquish between the 2 and the 74, as it looks like Danny Cochran finally makes that pass.
Danny Cochran finally making the pass around Nick Crawford, and has Cedric Hunter right there. A great run from him coming from the back, and he's back up into the top 10 now, being very patient. One of Cedric Hunter's promising skills that he has. He's a very patient driver, loves to race those long runs and not wear those tires out. So he's definitely a good potential to run up there and potentially challenge for the win as well. So we'll see if he can keep maintaining these tires and keep them happy before pit stops need to happen. But He's easily going to slowly get around Nick Crawford also, but we got the number 99 making a move to the inside from outside to inside as he gets around Crawford as well.
From the top rope, drops it down. It's the 99 as he goes on the apron, able to get by Nick Crawford, putting pressure on Cedric Hunter. But are those tires still there to even run the inside groove? Didn't look like it was for Levi Cox. He'll have to back out for a quick moment. Goes right back to his comfort zone, up to the wall. We'll see if the 99 can rip through the outside. Will Cedric Hunter be clear? He'll be clear for now. Cox gets the run, drops it down to the apron. No, he'll stay in line. He wants the outside and wants another chance as they have to back off for a quick moment. But there goes Cox, ripping the top again.
And Levi Cox doing a wonderful job there on the outside, making a lot of moves to get past these cars, and he finally makes the move, gets around Cedric Hunter, and Cedric's going to kind of let him by. And, you know, might be thinking Levi might be wearing out those tires too much, but he was getting a little bit loose on the front stretch last lap as he was trying to get around Cedric Hunter as well. So it might be just a little bit, a few more laps here that Levi might start falling off, but right now he is making a very strong move in, to the front, utilizing that outside line.
There's the SpongeBob machines, the 24 of Ollie Fonseca able to get by the 27 of Jared Tolnich as having some fun. Those SpongeBob schemes, also the 11 of John Forbes and the 16 of Joshua Kanata, all made by John Forbes' brother, Justin Forbes, who put a lot of effort into those schemes, and they are looking very nice into the new year as the 27 able to move up on this pass. And you know, seeing drivers going back and forth all tonight, that's going to be the key, especially when we get closer to pit stops around, I would say that lap 90 marker is what we're looking for some of these drivers. Again, might see the two stop. Other drivers might be thinking a little bit earlier, but I mean, at this time, Richard, if you are thinking about turning this split into two stops, what do you think your goal is already 14 laps into this run?
Oh, if you're wanting to do a two-stop run, then you have to run hard, you know, basically utilize those tires to the max potential they can, because if you're trying to do two stops, you're going to lose a lot of time because that's two pit stops you're going to have to make versus just one. So it's a lot of thought process these guys have to do, a lot of math of like, okay, this is how long I'm going to be on pit road, and this is about how much time I'm going to lose to these cars. Is the fresh tires enough to, you know, run to their bitter end to be able to catch and make up that time loss? So a lot of drivers will probably just make it out to be a one-stop race and pit kind of about the middle of this run, and it's probably going to be their safest bet, you know, with the tire and fuel situation.
For that split in the middle, again, lap 90-ish is going to be our window to look out for. As here's Cedric Hunter, Brian Noel, as well as a few others. That's just outside of our top 10. Gavin Rogers, Levi Cox, they're going back and forth as Rogers has fallen down to 7th place, as Cox is now up to 6th, and this 99 showing some great pace. Comparing it to our leader, I mean, matching just as fast as Seth Noel, but the fastest driver on track, it's actually the 88, Drew Jua, in 2nd position. That 88 machine is cutting down, and this is something we didn't see during the stage, was drivers marching on our leader. They just kept letting Seth pull away. It looks like for Drew Jua, he wants to try to keep a little small bit of pressure on our leader.
Yeah, right now Danny Cochran challenging Gavin Rogers back here in the 7th and 8th position. Gavin definitely has fallen off the pace a little bit. Don't know if he's trying to save tires or he just utilized a little bit more than he was hoping for. But yeah, Drew Jua is on a charge to try and catch that leader and maybe challenge him for the lead, which nobody's been able to do yet this race. So we'll see if Drew Jua can keep that pace up. He has fallen off just a little bit, but still trying his best to keep that pace up and catch Seth Noel for that lead.
And talking about knowledge of seeing how the tire wear kind of falls away during stage racing, and also marching your way through the field. That's such important knowledge to take in, especially on a track where it can be tough to make passes. And if you're able to slice and dice your way through, well, that knowledge is going to help you to make even more aggressive passes up front. As Danny Cochran, biggest mover, up to 8th place, trying to set up that pass to get by Gavin Rogers. But we fall back to drivers outside of our top 15. As here is going to be the 12 of Andrew Medlin, as well as Ryan Ferraro, Brandon Colley. We saw Colley have his big slip up. But watching the drivers that are outside of the top 20, giving us a good show. GT Rosari just in front of the black and purple machine. of Medlin as the 12 Storm Motorsports driver trying to find his footing to go forward. Currently down one spot from where he qualified, but driving around drivers that have had high moments, have had low moments, and just hoping to sneak by at the end of this race.
Yeah, just trying to sneak by, but you also got Brendan Colley back there also trying to make some moves. He's riding along on the outside line there, trying to get some kind of footing to make some passes. And he gets cut off a little bit by the 10 there, almost makes contact. But Brendan Colley doing a good job back there, just kind of taking it easy. Hopefully you see him get some pace and find some speed later in this run and be a contender up for the top 10 later in this race.
Certainly hoping so. Here's going to be the 8 machine, Brian McCann, currently in 16th position with Ken Campbell behind him. Campbell, again, was inside of our top 10, racing for some good stage bonus points at the end of the stage, but had a massive slide through his box, had to back up and lost tons of time on pit road as our stage pit stops were happening. And for the 15, this is his knowledge moment. How do I recover after that one mistake, after a great start to the race? How do I recover from that time?
Yeah, patience. Patience is the key. Just kind of ride around back there. I know you made a mistake, but it's hard to just drive the car hard now and hope to get positions and hold them. So now he's just kind of take his time, save those tires more than the other people around him, and slowly start picking those cars off throughout the rest of this race. It'll come back to him as long as he does the right thing. So Ken Campbell still has a very good potential to get back up into the top 10 and racing to get back up even in the top 5.
Try to find ways to gain time later in this run as we are 20 laps into green flag racing here this evening. Drivers are going back and forth. Currently going to be 3 wide for a quick moment as Tom Sinchek backs out going into turn 3. But if you're Tom Sinchek, if you're Ken Campbell, you had your mistakes early in this race. Luckily it was early. You had time to recover, like you said, Richard. Patience, I believe you're right on that. But this race, if it stays clean and green like it did the last time they ran near Kansas back in season 8, I mean, there's only so many positions that you could really gain back even this far back early in a race.
Yeah, there really is. It's kind of one of those, you kind of hope for the misfortune of other drivers. Of course, you never really want to see that, but I mean, you kind of had your own little mistake. You got to sometimes hope for someone else to make their mistake as well that you can capitalize on. But I mean, you saw Drew Jua charge his way through the field from 20th now up to 2nd position. So it's definitely possible. You just got to figure out where that groove is. It's going to fit your driving style. That's also going to gain some speed on these other drivers as well.
Drivers going back and forth. This is for 4th position. Ross Tatum, a driver we really haven't talked about a lot this season. The 21 having his best run for season 10. Currently trying to get by the 51 of Vincent Sora again for 4th place. Is this battle on screen? And they are slowly catching up to the 11 of John Forbes as they continue to stay side by side. It's the 21 Yellow Mellow machine that trying his best to clear the 51, but Vincent Sora just not giving up. He wants to keep this spot for himself.
Yeah, Vincent Sora trying to make the pass there on Ross Tatum, but Ross Tatum not giving up. Currently 18 positions up from his starting position. So Ross Tatum having a phenomenal start to this second part of the race and still not giving up. But it comes to the question now, when do you just concede that position? Because you're both utilizing a lot of that resource, which is tire, trying to race each other side by side. So Ross Tatum still on that outside, challenging Vincent Sora and just not letting him have that position. He's doing a great job defending his spot.
He's defending the spot, but again, like you said, how much are you willing to give up? Because you did have John Forbes in front of you. He's still a little bit over a half second ahead, so he's in distance to catch up if you can start running some clean laps. Behind you, though, you can give up some time. Danny Cochran about a second and a half behind this group, so there is space to work with. And for Danny, he's got Levi Cox, who's still on that rampage charge to gain some more position, but I think those tires will finally hit their maximum potential. It's currently the fastest driver on track is actually this 2 machine of Danny Cochran, who runs in 6th position. Now he's 6 seconds off the leader, but this is some great pace catching up to 2 drivers that still are not willing to give up their spacing. And for Danny Cochran, he might have a 2-for-1 if he's able to catch up to these drivers in time.
Yeah, he definitely has a chance to catch these drivers and get around them if they want to keep fighting for their position. But it looks like they've kind of tapered off a little bit. No, Vince is still trying to look to the inside of Ross Tatum there, but this is something Danny likes to see in front of him. Them two fighting for position, slowing each other down basically, and that'll give him a chance to get up there and pass both of them for a 2-for-1 pass. But I mean, Seth Noel still in the lead, just a class above the rest, as he is 3 seconds ahead of Drew Jua, who was on a great charge trying to catch him. But Seth is just checking out and seeing everybody, not even in his rearview mirror, they're just a speck.
Yeah, they're a speck in that mirror, and you can see here for Drew Jua, he's got to watch out for John Forbes behind him. Currently running slightly faster is John Forbes. He's closing in that gap that's about a second currently, and currently, if you're Drew Jua, I mean, you did your best effort to keep that gap. But I think the most interesting thing is when we talked to Seth Noel on the fact of how was this vehicle feeling, he said he was loose, and he wanted to figure out a way to help with that looseness on this next run. And I think he did just that. He really protected his tires, was willing to build up that gap, but protected enough to where he's running still a tenth to 2/10 faster than anyone on the track right now.
Yeah, he is doing just something amazing right now, just able to drive as fast as he is and still maintain a huge gap from second place. But Gavin Rogers looks like he's trying to find that pace again, maybe save his tires enough as he's going to be getting around Levi Cox. Levi Cox might start losing some pace here, but he's going to stay in front of Gavin for now, as it looks like they're going to try to make a charge and try to get around Danny Cochran, which is not something he wants to see, as he was catching the likes of Ross Tatum and Vincent Sora, and now he's about to get challenged for his position also from Levi Cox and Gavin Rogers.
Yeah, how much time can be gained back if you're Gavin Rogers? Again, didn't have the best pit stop for himself, fell back to third place. And for this 75, he's got to find a way to ramp this speed up. He's given up a lot of time. He's about 7 seconds off our leader, but only about 3 to 4 seconds off of third place for John Forbes' run. So if you're Gavin Rogers, maybe it's not for the win, but the top 3 is very doable, as we still know that we have pit stops looming within 20 laps for when these drivers will think about making their way into pit road, or it could be a little bit further as Levi Cox, Danny Cochran bouncing off of one another off on the backstretch. And that's some spacing and slow down, and that if you're Gavin Rogers, you like to take advantage of, but you don't want to get caught up in their own mess. As Cox into the outside wall, gonna be Brian Kelly, careful for themselves as the Yin Yang Racing affiliated drivers almost make contact. And whoo, Levi slow on the apron, and it's Kelly who continues to race on.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly, man, a huge moment coming out of turn 4 as he dove way low. Car got a little loose on him there. But, yeah, Levi Cox not able to maintain his car as he slows down a lot, loses a ton of time, and he's down on the apron. Looks like he's looking at potentially going to the pits. His car might be broke. He's sliding back and forth.
He is sliding. There is no sign of required damage, but he did hit the wall pretty hard. Could have been something broken on the wheel, as he will now go into pit road. You can see that heavy right front damage. We'll see how long the 99 wants to stay into pit road. Also, while that was going on, talk about the potential of drivers doing a 2-stop. One, it looks like it will be a lone driver going forward. It's Brian Noel in the 00. He did make it official. Tires, fuel, he is going, as he is the only driver to show a sign of a 2-stop strategy, as he will have one more stop to go before this race is over. Rest of the field, there's still about 20 laps until they think about their stop.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. He's going to do this 2-stop strategy, see if that might be able to gain him some time that he just hasn't had. But going back and look, Levi Cox actually did have some right front suspension damage, so he's going to be in the pits a while getting that repaired. So, you know, it's hard charge for him, but that wall was not his friend. But, yeah, we'll see what Brian Noel can do with this 2-stop strategy. And riding along with Joshua Kanata, they are still fighting for position back there as well. That with Larry Yingling and the number 14 of GT Irizarry.
GT Irizarry trying to make his way forward. Also in the mix here is the number 1 is Zach Hall. Hall going to stay low as Kanata try to find a way to get to the outside quarter panel of Larry Yingling. And they're going to be 3 wide off the exit turn number 2. Kanata with the speed. Hall follows in suit, as it will be Yingling as well as Irizarry just not able to keep the same pace that they would hope for. as Kanata loves that speed, but it was Hall that loved the fact that there was a clear opening for him to move forward.
Yeah, Zach Hall taking advantage of the run he had and followed Joshua Kanata along the outside of those two cars side by side of Irizarry and Yingling. So Zach Hall challenging also Kanata there for the 17th or the 16th position. So Zach Hall making a slow movement forward, but forward nonetheless, and see how far he can get forward.
And in front of them, a scary moment for Ken Campbell and back into 15th position, but he was battling with Ollie Fonseca. Made slight contact off the exit of turn 2. Luckily, able to only lose just 2 positions because of that little bit of contact, but 15, I think those tires are in a dangerous zone for themselves. And, you know, looking at the pit stop for Brian Noel, this is going to be an interesting spot for himself because he does going to have to gain a lot of time before pit stops are made for the rest of the field. Currently, the field's running about a second and a half off of their fastest time that they've ran all race long. So if you are that 00, you're making up plenty of great speed right now, but he's got a lot of time and ground he needs to make up before these drivers make pit stop.
Yeah, a lot of ground needs to be made up, but Ken Campbell still having a decent recovery run, though, as he's up here in the 15th position. So I still think he can make up more positions before pit stops are needed, but he's doing a good job recovering after that mistake on pit road that he had. Christopher Norris also up there doing a great job, almost on the outside of the top 10 in that SpongeBob machine and running in 12th position. So good to see him running and having a good, strong race as well, as he's, along with Vincent Zora, just hasn't had the greatest season start.
Yeah, Christopher Norris heard that there were going to be other SpongeBob schemes out there, so brought back a classic that he's ran in the past as 38, trying to stay ahead of Tom Sinchak. Ollie Fonseca and Sinchak doing a great job moving forward. Looking at the 26's pace, is mighty quick and starting to catch up as the 16 of Kanata having a little bit of a scare off with 2. It's going to be Ollie Fonseca outside, just trying his best to keep up, but it is going to be Tom Sinchak able to cleanly make the move forward. Talking about cleanly making the move forward, Vincent Zora, Ross Tatum, finally flip-flopping back and forth and able to get by John Forbes. Even with their battle, the 11 loses 2 spots, and they are starting to close into Drew Jua, who's now less than a second between second and third.
Yeah, John Forbes and that Patrick machine from SpongeBob SquarePants. That Patrick is a terrifying figure to have on the hood of your car and in your rearview mirror. So, but riding up behind Ross Tatum there, he's trying to make his move and trying to catch him as well. But they are starting to make moves forward, trying to catch up to Drew Jua and maybe challenge for that second position. But Seth Noel still has just checked out from the rest of the field at over 4 seconds ahead of Drew Jua. So Seth, he has got this track on lock, it seems, and the only person that seems to be able to beat him is himself. So as long as he has a great, rest of this race, I think Seth could potentially walk away with a great win here at Kansas.
Yeah, it's looking good for the 57. Again, that's if this race continues to stay clean and green and there's no mistakes on pit road, where we have seen in the past drivers throw away a race by having an unsafe pit entry, missing their box, and also having an unsafe pit exit. Plenty of ways to throw this race away before the night's over. And also the known factor of a late caution could change things up. But this race stays green as we are slowly closing in on when pit stops will be looming for us, as we are closing in to pit stops. This is going to be one of our times probably to take a commercial break, so we're going to take it for ourselves as Vincent Zora is about to be making the pass on Drew Jua. We get ourselves prepared to go to commercial break. We will go side by side so you don't miss a thing as you're watching the WSSR Cup Series race number 7 at Kansas. We'll be back right after this for more Kansas racing action. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You've been seeing the dogfight going back and forth for third place. Ross Tatum, John Forbes, and Drew Jua, as well as some lap cars getting mixed and mingled all around, as we are seeing the fact of this field preparing for pit stops. We've already seen Levi Cox as well as Brian Noel have to make their pit stops, and now it's around the zone. We're expecting those that are splitting this race from the stage break to the end in half. And first driver in is going to be the 8 machine up Brian McCann, but we look around, it looks like Gavin Rogers is going to be the first of those up front to head into pit road. Also trying to follow in suit might be a couple of other drivers further on back, but inside of our top 10, first driver is Gavin Rogers into pit road, as it is looking like a little bit of madness for everyone else. The tires are falling away, and Richard, it is this part of the race where mistakes, if you've already pitted, you're hoping this race stays green.
Yeah, this is where, like you said, Gavin Rogers, one of the first of the front runners to be pitting. And, racing with Gavin as long as I have before, that's one thing Gavin struggles sometimes with is the strategy calls. But he's always afraid to pit early because this is, like you said, the time that the tires have fallen off, this is where mistakes will be made trying to get into pit road or try to keep that car under control. And if you're caught on pit road or, trying to get into pit road when that caution comes out, that is just detrimental to a run. So Gavin Rogers, he's trying to undercut like a lot of other drivers have done before him that has kind of ruined a race for him. So he's going to see if he can put it to them and try to undercut them and get ahead of the drivers that normally pass him for pit road strategy.
Now into pit road, also going to be Danny Cochran, and our leader going to be Seth Noel, going to be now into pit road for the 57. Who else will follow in suit? Early pit stop. Now these drivers can still go another about 10 laps or so before they're going to have to be forced into pit road based off their fuel consumption. So if you're looking for a shorter stint where you can maximize tires, you might decide to stay out, but the amount of time you're losing is going to be close to almost 2 seconds per lap if you don't go to pit road now if you're one of those front runners. And you're Vincent Sora, Ross Tatum, they're staying out for an extra lap. They're willing to give up that time, but they already were losing over the 57.
Yeah, he's coming in now and getting fresh tires, so it's going to be rough for those drivers that were behind him trying to catch him because they were losing, like you said, even on those older tires. So now he's going to be on newer tires, and then he's going to be able to extend that gap between them not pitting and him pitting. So this could be a great call by him, and it might not work out so well for those behind him, but we'll see what happens, and hopefully he can get a big gap from these drivers, or maybe someone might surprise him and have some pace that they've been hiding the rest of this race and catch him to challenge him for that win.
Also, drivers on older tires have to be careful with the lack of grip. It's really pushing a lot of field up in the outside wall. And the exit of 4, I've seen a couple of drivers smash that wall. One of those being John Forbes. He's hoping he doesn't break suspension, but also drivers hoping that we stay clean and green. Danny Cochran, fresh rubber. He'll slice his way through this grouping as this is 9th on back, being led by GT Rizari. You've also got Justin Malarkey, Talmadge, Stitz, and Hall all on top of one another, and they're waiting to see who's going to be the first to call out of this group that they're heading into pit road, because it looks like everyone's willing to continue on. No, it's Talmadge, late call. He was thinking about pit road, but backs out of it because he had Zach Hall right on his back bumper.
Oh man, a risky call there. Decides to back out of trying to come down pit road, but might have saved from causing a caution as well. So we'll see what goes on here. Zach Hall still trying to catch up to him and make that pass, but pit stops are definitely going to get crazy with a lot of drivers trying to get in and faster cars coming up behind them.
As more of the field heading into pit road, getting service done. It's around our top 15 that still need to go into pit road. Tom Sinchak going to be the next to head in. Here's also going to be Stitz, as well as seeing Talmadge making their stops together. 17 and 27 that will be entering pit road. Again, you have to be careful not to get caught with the black flag penalty, and one of the drivers that went into pit road did. Tom Sinchak, a 40-second hold, speeding on entry, overshoots his pit box. It goes from bad to worse for the driver that was recovering after his adventure through the grass. It just gets worse and piled on, as this pit stop was so critical. Now Vincent Sora into pit road. Joining Sora also going to be Cedric Connor and Drew Jua to make this stop.
Oh man, that is just so bad for Tom Sinchak. Not only he gets the black flag for speeding, for 40 seconds, but also overshoots his pit stall. So from bad to worse, like you said, that's not going to help him for his run. He's going to have to hope for a caution or someone make a mistake. But unfortunate for him, but a lot of other drivers coming in. Vincent Sora coming out of the pit himself. But we're right along right now with Ryan Kelly, who is now our leader after all the drivers in front of him in the pit. He's still got a pit himself, though.
Yeah, still waiting for a top 8 to make their pit stop. Another driver with a penalty. That's Jarrett Talmadge speeding off of pit road. He has to go back in and get service done. That's a tough pill to swallow when you were able to have the clean entry pit stop, but it's speeding off exit that you get penalized with. As now getting service, going to be Justin Malarkey, Zach Hall, leaving us with just our top 6 now that need to go into pit road. As Ryan Kelly now makes his stop. Here's Chad Wilkes, who's still out there on track. Again, still about another 3 to 4 more laps these front runners can go, and they're banking on that caution that doesn't look like it's looming to be thrown, as Ryan Kelly now enters into his stop, and also Jarrett Talmadge going to be serving his black flag penalty.
And the driver that is trying to do the 2-stop strategy, Brian Noel, he is currently 30 laps out on his pit, and he is up to 7th. So still behind Seth Noel. He's going to be, looks like, 2nd place once the pit cycle kind of rotates in and out. But let's see if that pays off for him. But he really needed to be in the lead after the full pit cycles came out. He's hoping for now a yellow. But I don't think that strategy is going to work out for him like he had hoped. Unfortunate to see, but it was great to see a different strategy come out like a lot of these other drivers didn't do. So we'll see if anything kind of comes his way and he gets some luck that comes around.
Yeah, I mean, it still is giving him a net gain currently, but once he serves and has to make that final pit stop, it is going to hurt that 00 machine. He's going to need a lot of time to recover and make these passes. The question is, for Noel, does he pit whenever Nick Crawford, Yingling, Wilkes make their stop, or do you stretch it out a little bit further to have that extra more pace on your tires? That's going to be the continuous, as Larry Yingling now makes his way into pit road. It's going to be Seth Noel in the 57, expected to take back the lead, but could Gavin Rogers run him down? Rogers, again, pitted earlier, pitted 2 laps sooner than the 57, was not able to stay ahead, even with that earlier stop, and that has got to be a demoralizing feeling when you went with the undercut, expecting to gain all this time back, and it still didn't add up to you being ahead of the 57.
It might not have been added up to him being ahead of the 57, but that will put him basically in the 3rd/2nd position once Brian Noel makes his pit stop when he runs out of fuel. So that actually worked out well for Gavin, as he gained probably about 6 or 7 positions from where he pitted from. So that is a big gain for Gavin, honestly. It's just a matter of he can keep up the pace and gain some pace on Seth, who has just been the star of the field today at Kansas.
And driver that stayed out longer than the 57, it's going to be the 51. Vincent Sora currently runs 5th, to be moving up to 4th, and might even gain a couple of more spots as the 00 slashes the wall. As the final driver into pit road, Chad Wilkes did everything he could to stay out there as long as possible, but fuel is calling to pit road. Now the last driver to make a stop for the evening is over. It will be the 00, Brian Noel, who runs 3rd. He was the one driver that went for the 2-stop strategy. But talking about those that pitted later, Vincent Sora going to be having a 5-lap advantage on tires over Seth Noel. But I'm looking at the pace. He's about 11 seconds back from the 57 machine and only running 0.2 faster. At that rate, it's not fast enough for Vincent Sora to catch up. But man, he's going to give it his best effort that he can to at least finish 2nd.
Yeah, Vincent Sora is definitely going to try to catch Gavin to challenge for 2nd, but Gavin still trying to find speed around this track to catch up to Seth, as he's 6 seconds back. Finds a little bit of speed here and there, but they kind of keep flip-flopping of who's faster each lap. But Gavin still working that track, trying to find speed anywhere he can, as he just keeps losing time. He's 6.5 seconds that lap behind the leader of Seth Noel, but Seth just kind of charging away again from this field. He has found something here at Kansas. This is his track, and everyone's wondering what he's doing that they're not, that they can't catch him for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting with this next-gen car is how it's changed throughout the years and how being more aggressive seems to be a lot more rewarded in this Gen 7 next gen machine compared to past generations of the Cup car, where it seemed like it was protect the tires. You were going to be rewarded for the long run, maybe the middle of the run. You were going to be the faster driver. Now it seems like if you aren't pushing it aggressively and staying aggressive, you're going to be one of those drivers that's stuck behind the leader, just questioning where did my pace go that I wasn't able to catch back up.
Yeah, it's definitely a head scratcher for these drivers of, what can they do different to try and make some time up, or even when a similar track like this pops up later, is it something that Seth is going to again dominate, or is this something that they're going to be able to learn from and take it to him in a different race? So it's definitely hard in the moment to figure out what you're trying to do, because you don't want to over push your car or push it too much, because then you're utilizing resources that are limited and you're going to start losing time to the person behind you and lose a position. So it's either, try to figure it out, push a little bit harder to try to go for the win, or just kind of be content where you are there in the second or third position. But it's definitely an interesting race to watch, with Seth doing a phenomenal job, now 7 seconds ahead of the leader.
Now, Richard, I want to throw a question out to you. The 00 Brian Noel, he would have already come to pit road 4 laps ago if he was trying to keep an equal distance to how he was running in the past. I'm looking at this 00. I think he might be thinking with the idea of just stay out until the caution flag comes out. I take that back. He hit the wall a lap prior. He is forced to pit road. There's just too much right side damage. He cannot keep up the pace that he wants. And never mind about that question. I was going to say, does maybe he change up the strategy of just stay out and bank on a caution? But it looks like he has to go into pit road. So now we change your sights over to the 11 of John Forbes, who has some of the freshest tires of any of those in the middle of the pack. He was starting to fall back with slight damage that he had to get repaired. And the 11 now down in 14th place. Curious on how many positions he could try to grab, as he's got a lot of work to get back into the top 5.
Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of ground to make up as he makes a pass right here by Andrew Medlin. So, had to get some of that damage repaired. That's always a downside when you have to do that. You give up a lot of track position, but he's back up here, in 12th position now, chasing down Christopher Norris as his next target. It's going to be a long road ahead of him to try to get back up to where he was running, but it's very possible the way that John Forbes drives. I think he's got a lot of pace and a lot of speed, but he has got Nick Crawford, who is on a tear of a run off that turn 4 right behind him as he closed a huge gap to catch up to him.
And the reason why he's running the top, and he's got 2 lap fresher tires than the 11. Nick Crawford trying to put down some burners. Teammates, Alliance drivers back on Monday nights for the ISRC Truck Series. They're currently in the off season until late February, early March, as they're trying to find a way to get by Brian Noel, as the 00 is back out on track. But quick pace by the 11 and 74 machine, as they're trying to find a way to get by Noel, who took 4 tires and fuel, but it just doesn't look like the 00 has the same pace that he had before. But he'll stay right in front of this group, going back and forth. That little bit of a stall out helps Crawford to now slice to the inside. They're trying to both get by the 00, and Crawford pinched too low, has to back out of it, and finds the space to get back into the throttle, and they will stay side by side, drag racing across the line.
Nick Crawford dropping all the way down to the grass almost, but they are still side by side. Nick Crawford still sticking to that low side, but John Forbes is going to that outside run going out of the turn. And let's see if Nick Crawford's going to pinch him up behind Chris Norris, but he's going to be able to clear him, so that doesn't happen. And John Forbes going to pass Christopher Norris for the 11th position. Very clean and smooth there, and he gains a little bit of time on Crawford, but Crawford still charging forward and trying to catch him to get around him.
Hey, Richard, we've seen you out on track here on Wednesday nights. I know I race with you, also Robert, our producer in the background. I race with you on Tuesday nights in the BRB Cup Series. But when you're racing a driver like this and you're trying to get by them and you feel like you're the faster machine, but you just can't figure out the weapon to make the pass, how frustrating must the 74 be feeling?
Oh, it's definitely a frustrating feeling when you know you're faster than someone, but you just can't get the run necessary to get around them because they're just all wide. But John Forbes gets into the wall there a little bit. That might give Nick Crawford a window, but it's definitely frustrating. It's something you got to kind of talk yourself down, not get yourself too frustrated, because when you get frustrated, that's when mistakes happen, and that's when you lose the ground you need to gain on them. So sometimes, I mean, I've seen it in, leagues I've raced where someone gets a little bit too frustrated with someone, they give them the chrome horn a little. So usually doesn't, get down to that, but it definitely can be frustrating, and it's definitely a mental game for yourself that you need to calm yourself down to, so you don't make mistakes and be able to make those moves when it's the right time.
Giant mental game. Again, these drivers are teammates in a truck series on Monday nights that we cover here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. They know each other's tendencies. The question is, will they continue to play nice as they were able to get by Christopher Norris? Now, next target for both will be Brian McCann. Other drivers are being passed up front for second place. The pass is just about to be made. Vincent Sora getting by Gavin Rogers for second position. And I'm looking at the pace for Vincent Sora. He has been flirting back and forth between 2 to 3 tenths faster than Seth Noel and Noel, and that 57, the gap was a little bit over 12 seconds the last time we touched on it. This 51 is cut it down by 4 seconds in the last couple of laps. This has been a great charge by Vincent Sora, but now he's finally got some clean air. Curious on what pace is left to try to catch up to the 57 machine, or will Noel be just in a set and sail mode because he knows, all right, the fastest driver that's going to have a chance to catch up to me is now behind, and I got to worry about the traffic in front.
Yeah, Vincent Sora doing a great job cutting that gap down from him to the leader, able to get around Gavin Rogers pretty smoothly there. But the problem is he's still got a lot of pace to make up and a lot of ground to make up. It's a matter of time of when these tires even out between him and Seth, and at that point, it's just like hitting a brick wall and you can't gain any more time. So let's see if Vincent Sora has something there in the tank and maybe can save those tires a little bit better while still having pace. But I mean, without, some kind of a unfortunate event to happen in a late race caution, I just don't foresee anybody really catching Seth today.
Chad Wilkes, one of the last drivers to hit pit road. He's trying to utilize the freshness of the tires on track to move up Gavin Rogers close to Christopher Wade. Luckily, they get clear as the 6 puts the pressure on. Cody Reed, also another driver that stayed out late. He's showing some good pace here, trying to unlap themselves. Currently is the 6 machine and the 25. As they're able to get by third place position of Gavin Rogers. Looking at a couple of other close battles that are happening out on track. I know Danny Cochran was trying to find a way to get by Ross Tatum. Hasn't been able to find that speed just yet. See the 2. He's got Jarrett Talmadge helping out the 21 to push forward. Other close battles is for 9th place where John Works as well as Nick Crawford continue to make their charge forward together in 9th position, as Ken Campbell has been their next victim to be passed. It seems like those two are willing to kind of draft with one another moving forward. Here's Ali Fonseca and GT Rosari back in 15th place. They're trying to find a way to get by the 17 and Chris Stitz in 14th position, as well as having Brandon Colley, as well as seeing Thompson check the lap down car. Joshua Kanata. This is the closest grouping of drivers on top of one another. So the classic phrase of, if we're going to see a caution, it might be from this group that are willing to race aggressively, because this is almost all for position between these grouping of drivers.
Yeah, these guys are really close, and they keep getting closer just because of different braking zones. As you saw the 14 of GT Rosari get really close to Ali Fonseca just because of different brake zones. But this is where a potential mistake could happen, because these guys they are right next to each other. You could throw a blanket over these 5 cars because they're so close. But it looks like GT Rosari going to go low on Ali Fonseca. They touch a little bit, but no spin. Oh, that was that's where the mistake could have happened, but these drivers doing a great job keeping it straight still, and they still get into the door a little bit. Irizarry getting a little loose as he got up into Ali Fonseca again.
You're lucky to get 1 love tap. 2 is extremely lucky. 3 is someone's going around as GT Rosari fights right on back to the inside quarter panel of Ali Fonseca. Not able to get to that inside quarter panel just yet. Tom Sinchek going to be passed as he will stay low and let the charger of Joshua Kanata and Brandon Colley now go back and forth for 17th position, as Ali Fonseca able to get by even with that contact from GT Rosari. He's now setting sights on making the pass on Chris Stitz for 14th, but this grouping of drivers, they know it can be a mess in a moment. Other drivers over the radio apologizing with one another, as it looked like it was the battle for 5th place. Drew Jua getting a little bit into Danny Cochran up into turn 4, just a little left tap as the two. Luckily they get into the outside wall, but here is Ari Fonseca. Just, small little taps like that. For some drivers, they can let it go, but this late for the run, drivers, they want to say, all right, you touched me, I'm going to make sure I'm ahead of you at the end of this race.
Yeah, it's definitely true. One love tap, you can be chalked up as just a small mistake, but when it's two basically in one turn, I mean, that's where tempers can flare a little bit. You can get a little irritated. So these guys are doing a good job keeping cool heads, though, and no big mistakes are really happening and no retaliation, I guess you could say. But they're doing a good job. GT is already trying to look for that window to get around Ali Fonseca. He has some speed every now and then, but tries to make the move, and then Ollie's just got the run from being on the outside and just able to stay in front of him. So very fun race to be watching with these guys as they are all still just that close. And we had a small little moment there from Chris Stitz, and Fonseca able to get around on the outside. He's going to be able to clear this pass here at the end of this turn.
And if GT Arizari can follow suit with this pass over Stitz, I don't think this rivalry is over just yet, as GT Arizari now bounces the outside quarter panel of the 17, and Stitz, he just has to sit back and watch the fun, because I think this 24 and 14, they might fall right back to the clutches of the 17 if you're lucky, Chris. Just got to be patient and watch those two go back and forth. Update on the battle for the lead. The gap has now shrunk to just 7 seconds, as Vincent Sora still has a little bit over 20 laps to go in this race. You got to give kudos on the fact that he's run down as close as he has, but the pace has slowed down now to just 1/10 the difference between those two drivers. But Seth Noel continues to run well. The one thing, like I noted on before, lap traffic, I feel like is the only thing that could hold back and maybe give Vincent Sora a chance. Andrew Medlin slams the outside wall through 1 and 2. As Justin Malarkey in the 73 tries to make the pass, and Noel just has to watch this wall in front of him and make the hard decision. Do you just follow this group because you have such big of a lead, and then you'll wait for the opening to pass, or are you willing to be aggressive and send it 3 wide if you got a big enough run?
I mean, when you're this far ahead, I know you don't like seeing that gap get smaller, but I mean, right now you're so far ahead. Just be calm, be patient, wait for the moment to pass, and make the move when it's safe. So, because you don't want that 7 to 8 second gap turn into a wrecked car on pit road. So he's doing the right thing, waited for those guys to sort themselves out, and then he's making the pass on the inside here. Smart move from Seth to maintain the lead and get around these lap cars.
This 57 gets by Andrew Medlin. Now going to sit sides on Justin Malarkey, as Malarkey, last driver on the lead lap, currently runs 20th at this time. 20 laps to go, as now make it 19 for the 57 to Seth Noel. And this race looking pretty close to what we saw back in season 8. Just one caution. It was at the stage yellow that brought out that one caution for that race, and we've only had one caution this evening. It was back on lap 35 that ended the stage, and it's been Seth Noel up front for almost every lap so far. This 57 has looked dominant. He's up front. No one has touched him, but there is another gaggle of cars. Even if you get by Justin Malarkey, there's another about 6 that you have to worry about. And it was that last grouping of drivers that we were talking about with Ali Fonseca, GT Rizari, Chris Stitz, Brandon Colley, Joshua Kanata. You can now add Shane Terrian to the mix, that you have a gapping to work with. But do you really want to make these passes, or just settle? Because as we've been watching this battle for the last 3 laps, Vincent Sora has closed in by almost a half a second.
Yeah, Vincent Sora is definitely on the tear, trying to close that gap to Seth Noel, and Seth just trying to find his way through these lap traffic cars, and he's having a little bit of a struggle here with the one right in front of him there, but he's got a big group of cars in front of him. The 75 going high, he's going to go low, try to make the pass there, but was it the 75? That was the 73, my mistake, but he's still got a huge gaggle of cars ahead of him, that of Chris Stitz in the gang, as Chris Stitz got in the back of Ali Fonseca going into turn 3, but he still has some gap to be a little patient, as that gap though is down to 6 seconds from 8 when he took second place from Gavin Rogers. So he's got quite a bit of a lead still to be patient, and it doesn't seem like he's losing that much of a pace still. So he's doing a good job being patient, keeping the cars safe, and staying out of terrible situations. So he's kind of just letting everyone around him do their thing, and he's just kind of following suit and being in pack with them.
Seeing Seth Noel, affiliated driver, currently independent, but affiliated with Lucky Guys. leading this race. Vincent Sora from Nightmare Fuel runs second. Gavin Rogers, Next Level Motorsports, in third. You've also got BKM of Ross Tatum currently runs in fourth, and it's Lucky Ducks driver Drew Jua running in fifth place. It's your top five with 15 laps to go. Seth Noel, he continues to just stay behind Justin Malarkey, but you can kind of get a sense he would prefer to have some fresh air in front of him. Malarkey, though, doesn't want to be the first driver one lap down. He wants to stay on the lead lap, and in all rights, this 73 can fight like this, but if you're the leader, a little bit more antsy as each lap drives on by.
Yeah, when you're the leader and you're trying to pass someone like that, it can get a little frustrating. You're just kind of let me by already. I'm trying to win this race, but Malarkey has every right to fight to be on that lead lap still, but he's going to be able to make the pass nice and clean, and he's around back in front with the clean air, and now he's going to make a charge to the next group of cars and see what he can do there.
That's a question of, well, how aggressive will those drivers race back and forth as Larry Engling, who has had has been waiting in the wings. Now he'll fight back for this position on Malarkey, as Yingling almost thought for a moment he was going to fight the leader for position to get back on the lead lap, as the 67 currently has 3-lap fresher tires, but has been a lot more patient watching the leader battle Malarkey. That was a chance to strike, didn't work out for the 67. Kind of just hyping up the chance of a battle for the lead. It's still 6 seconds at this moment. It's about 5.5 when they cross the line. As Malarkey, for a moment there, I thought he was going to keep his foot in the throttle and get to the outside of our leader. Instead, just slowly catching up to now Joshua Kanata, Shane Tarian. They're a lot more spaced out than they were about 8 laps ago. I think that's the big positive you can take away with the fact that you were fighting with Malarkey, is the gaggle of cars in front of you. I think they're willing to give space a lot easier than they would have earlier on.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to fight for some space a little easier with that group in front of him, but he's got some clean air. He's got some time to, kind of chill out and make some moves here and get some speed behind him again, extend that gap. But he's doing a good job keeping that car safe up front and still getting around these cars nice and smooth as he's catching up right now to Joshua Kanata and going to make the precise move to get around him at the safest possible.
And Seth Noel going to be trying to get by Kanata. Pass for third place underway. Ross Tatum has finally been able to get by Gavin Rogers for third place. Now Drew Jua is going to be trying to wait and see how they battle in front, and to see if there's a chance for this 88 to maybe strike for a pass and get into fourth, maybe even third, as Brian Noel, teammate of that Lucky Ducks driver. Well, where will the 00 go, as it's coming up to 10 laps to go for Seth Noel? And Noel is looking prime for a win. Has not lost time, even with the little battles that we've seen. It's been equal distance for the last 2 laps as Gavin Rogers slips up and slides. Now it's going to be seeing Drew Jua up to fourth place. He sees that yellow mellow machine, and there's a chance for third if you're Drew Jua.
Yeah, Gavin Rogers struggling here late in this run with 10 laps to go. Kind of got into the wall there a little, but getting passed by Ross Tatum and Drew Jua. And he seems to be struggling this late in the race, so he's going to have some recovering to do. Maybe that's about all he can do right now. But Drew Jua doing a great job now up to the 4th position. Let's see if he can chase down Ross Tatum and get to that third position from starting way back in 20th.
A couple of other great battles that are happening on track. Closest battles that are happening is the battles going on for 15th place. Ali Fonseca, Brandon Colley, as well as in front of our leader, it's Chris Stitz and Shane Tarian going side by side. They're battling back for 17th position. Here's Drew Jua giving a little bit of help from Jared Talmadge, 1 lap down, and closing in the gap. Less than 10 laps to go, and third place is now in hand for the 88 as they continue to rip the top, scraping the wall. They continue to keep their foot in the throttle. And for Ross Tatum, he'll take the slight advantage even with the scrape from the wall, as looked like the 88 took the brunt of it, but they're still able to drive on the outside groove. As Talmadge drops low, he'll just watch this battle from afar, as now Drew Jua almost lands the wall again.
Yeah, Drew Jua seems to have a handful in his car right now. Just kind of tapped the wall coming at it too. Seems to be struggling just a tad bit trying to catch the Ross Tatum, but Ross Tatum also having a drive today in one of his best races up here in the 3rd position. He's right behind Brian Noel. trying to make a pass on him, one of the lap down cars as well. But Drew is doing everything he can, utilizing that car to its max potential to try to catch Ross. But I don't know, with each lap ticking away and the way he keeps getting loose out of the turns, I don't know if it's going to happen.
I mean, Ross Tatum, his best finish this season was 12th at the start of the season at Atlanta, and every race since then it's been outside of the top 19. And what a charge it would love to be, as you now see Seth Noel able to get by and finally able to have some breathing room, as he was trying to get by the battling drivers for 17th position. Shane Terrian and Chris Stitz, they continue to fight back and forth, as Larry Yingling, who just is following the leader, says, I'll take that spot. He's now up to 17th. As across the line, it's now 5 laps to go. There's still another group ahead, but if you're Seth, you really don't need to risk it. You can let these drivers go, and you can still have plenty of space to work with. But Vincent Sora, as you can see on our ticker, he's 5 seconds back. You got a small window. You give up at least a second a lap. It's only been about a 10th a lap, though, the last 15.
Yeah, but even so, like, he can give up some time here and just kind of coast for the rest of this race, basically, because Vincent Stora, he's still got to get around all these cars that Seth got around, so that's going to, slow him down as well. So Seth, he's pretty much just on cruise control the rest of this race. He has done everything right. The pit stops have been perfect. He has been perfect with 4 laps to go. Seth is just on cruise control for this win here at Kansas.
You gotta wait and hope that there isn't a caution. And again, we just continue to linger at some of these closest battles because drivers are pushing the hardest. Their tires are waiting. They're hoping that they stay on top of themselves. Closest battle on track is for 12th place. It's Christopher Norris trying to hold back Brian McCann. But now 3 laps to go for Seth Noel, who's on his 2nd start this season. He started his debut race back at the Red Bull Ring. It's only his 2nd start, hoping to get into victory lane and trying to become the next Lucky Duck driver that has done so many amazing things these last couple of seasons. You bring in a new Lucky Duck affiliated driver, and they always have speed to watch out for, and Seth Noel might be the next star to watch out for, as Larry Yingling, the 3-time champ, trying to unlap himself to go fight this pack in front. With now 2 laps to go, Richard, this is setting sights that Seth Noel, he just wants to see that white flag, and then he can feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, Seth, when you're that far ahead and you just have no competition behind you, really, because they're so far back, that is the only thing you want to see is that white flag, and it's getting ever so nervous more and more as he's coming out of turn 4. He will take the white flag as long as there's no caution beforehand. The white flag is in the air, and he's across the line. This race will be official. He's coming around. Seth Noel into turn 1 with the lead of 4.5 seconds over Vincent Sora currently. He is now set to cruise straight to victory lane as long as he makes no mistakes.
That's the key. Don't make any mistakes. You let Larry Yingling go on by, and the grouping ahead of you, they've kind of settled. You almost brought a caution coming out of 4, but instead, the lap after, Seth Noel exits the corner just in his 2nd race in the WSSR, and a welcome to victory lane. The 57 in a dominant fashion is your winner here for race number 7 of the season. Kansas Speedway. It is all Seth Noel's. Congratulations. Whoa, man, Richard, that is probably the most dominant way that you can win. And for only your 2nd race in this series, everyone else better watch out.
Yeah, Seth Noel here at Kansas. That was about as dominant as Gavin Rogers on a road course. That was a perfect run, as close as you could get for Seth Noel. And in the 2nd start of the WSSR season, that is a dominating stamp to put on the field saying, I'm here and I'm ready to compete.
Vincent Sora will come away in 2nd. Ross Tatum, his best finish of the season. He finally gets a top 10, top 5. Give him a top 3 instead. The 21 when we talk to him later on here tonight. But it's going to be the 57, Seth Noel, who's going to be enjoying this one as he's getting up to the start-finish line to burn it down. We want to say thank you again to everyone that's watching with us this evening. We will be back right after this for the post-race show as we get to talk to Seth Noel, Vincent Sora, Ross Tatum, and a spotlight driver right after this. Enjoy this one, Seth. We'll be back for some more action and talk to these drivers. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for race number 7, season 10 at Kansas Speedway for the WSSR Cup Series. And it's the driver on his second race. We go to Seth Noel, who comes away with probably one of the most dominant wins you could ask for a new driver. Seth, it's Sam and Richard up the booth once again. Congratulations on the win. Man, how are you feeling? You're up front. You take the pole, you take the stage win, and then you win ultimately the race. How are you feeling after this evening's performance?
Uh, I feel okay, which is an understatement for like 4.6, but Vincent had so much more long run. Like, I just didn't have that. My short run was able to overcome it, but Vincent was flying in the long run. Yeah, fun. Final like 15 was fun, trying to cut through traffic, and I feel like the third run, that was probably the best I did on the tires all night. But it was hard to tell just because I had short pitted Vincent and everybody else. But yeah, I mean, overall, good night. Able to come out with a W. It's back-to-back top fives, 2-2. So we'll go to Phoenix next week and see what we can do there.
Yeah, that was a dominating run as dominating could get. And when you're coming up through all that lap traffic, there was a few of the drivers that were getting door to door with each other. Was that a little nerve wracking when you're trying to maintain such a huge lead?
Uh, a little bit. I got stuck behind the 73 for a little bit, so it was a little frustrating just from my standpoint. Just he had a little bit fresher tires, and I just kind of got stuck. Um, but once I got clear from him, I was able to kind of just manage the gap and just take whatever I needed. Um, but just managing risk at that point and trying not to put myself in a terrible spot, but keep my momentum going forward as we cut through the traffic.
Well, like you said, Seth, we're heading in towards Phoenix, Darlington, and Road America. Going to be our next 3 races. I know you're running part time. Are you planning on running these next 3 races, or are there a few that you're like, I'll step away from?
I'll probably run Phoenix. I'll probably skip Darlington and Road America, and I don't know where we're at after that. But Phoenix, I'll probably come in and have some fun with the boys and see what we can do.
I cannot wait for it. Well, Seth, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shoutouts.
Appreciate Raisin Canes on the car tonight with Dr. Pepper, Splash and Go Graphics designing this car. Appreciate the Nexus boys. We'll see what we can do in Road to Pro this season, and appreciate y'all put on the broadcast tonight. And hopefully, I gave you a show.
It certainly was a fun show to watch. Seth, congratulations on this win and good luck next week.
All right, appreciate you, boys.
As that will be your winner here tonight in the 57 machine, Seth Noel. We will head down to second place to the driver that tried everything he could to run down that 57 machine. We have Vincent Sora with us. Vinny, it just seemed like it was a little bit out of touch, but man, you looked quick here this evening. How are you feeling coming away second here tonight?
I feel honestly pretty good. Um, I'm kind of just used to finishing second nowadays on iRacing, so I take what I can get, especially over here after the really rough start that I had to the season. Yeah, Seth was just kind of in another zip code tonight. I knew as soon as I saw him join the league that he was going to be trouble, just like James, and they're really proven to be the trouble that I thought they'd be. I had him on the long run tonight. It's just I don't know. I'm really bad on the short run in these cars. I just give up so much time. I don't know if it's just me not being aggressive enough or just missing a little something that it seems like everybody else other than me has. But yeah, definitely something I need to work on. But I had the pace tonight, so hopefully I can carry it into other weeks and hopefully get that win that just keeps on kind of slipping away from my grasp.
Well, with such a rough start to this season, this should tip you up into the top 16 for the playoffs here in a couple of weeks. But how does it feel to finally have a little bit of breath of fresh air with another good finish for you this season?
Yeah, it feels really good. I've just been kind of clicking off spots in the points each week, and this momentum is what I need, especially heading into the playoffs. I don't know what week we're on right now, but the playoffs probably aren't too far ahead of us. Probably like 4 or 5 weeks, I'd imagine. Yeah, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like about 5 weeks until the playoffs. So yeah, I just got to click off some more good runs. Hopefully, get a win and figure out how to beat these guys that are a little bit quicker than me.
Well, looking at the future of those next 5 races, we have got Phoenix, Darlington, Road America. What's the confidence level heading to those 3 tracks?
It's all right. I think Phoenix is going to be pretty much wherever you start, you're going to run for most of the race, just because that's kind of the nature of the track on iRacing. And Darlington is kind of the same, and then obviously Road America is kind of the same there too. But yeah, I don't know. They're all tracks that I think I'll have good pace at regardless. And like I said, if I can just figure out a few little minor things that are setting me back, then I think they're probably going to be a few more good points days for me.
Well, Vinny, it was an awesome race to watch. It was exciting to see you try to run down Seth as much as you could. Congratulations on second. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shoutouts.
Yeah, first off, definitely to Seth for whooping everybody tonight. Shout out to the good turnout we had in drivers after a couple weeks off. It's always nice to come back from a big break and see everybody excited to get back into a race. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting, and shout out to all my teammates in Nightmare Fuel.
Well, that'll be the 51 machine of Vincent Sora coming away with second here tonight. Congratulations, Vinny, on that, and good luck next week at Phoenix.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
You too. As we now head to third place, we get to talk to the 21 Ross Tatum, and it's been a while since we got to talk to this 21 machine. Ross, third place here tonight. I know it's been a rough season, last couple of seasons, but man, how are you feeling coming away third here this evening?
Well, Sam, I feel pretty good. This league has definitely been feast or famine for me, and mostly famine by that means. So it feels good to come out of third. Man, I don't know. I don't know what I did different tonight, but it was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal run from you, Ross. And to be up there and, taking swings the likes of Vincent Sora and Druju and Gavin Rogers, I mean, that's got to be a huge confidence boost for the rest of this season. How you feeling and looking forward to the future?
I guess it depends what tracks we go to, but I'm feeling good. Hopefully, no road courses anytime soon. So maybe I can get on the right track. My problem in this league is I seem to get in most of the wrecks that happen. So if I can just keep it clean, I can usually run top 10, top 12, somewhere in that range. I was running pretty good at Atlanta before I did some dumb strategy, and a couple other places I was running pretty good. So I think the rest of the season, I think I can get some top tens here and there, but I don't think any winning's going to happen this season.
Well, I've got some unfortunate news for you, Ross. Road course is lingering in these next couple of weeks. The upcoming racetracks, Phoenix, Darlington, and then Road America, the next three. Does that make you feel any better, or does it feel like these are going to be a tough next couple of weeks?
First two sound good. I think I have the flu for the third one, so I don't know if I'll be here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Darlington. That's driver's track, so that should be a lot of fun. But there's a lot. This league is so talented. I don't even. It feels like tonight feels great to finish top three. It's almost like winning in any other league. That's why I came back and raced here, is just because the talent's so crazy. So feels good tonight, and got to keep building. Got to get used to these new triple screens I hung up tonight, and hopefully I can get it in the right direction. Maybe point my way into the top 16 or top 12. I'm not sure what the points are, but it's gonna be a long battle, but I think I can do it.
Well, it would be an awesome run to see you make it into the top 16 and make the playoffs. Ross, it was a pleasure to see you finish third here tonight. And before we let you go, floor's now yours for any other shout outs.
Well, I can't do a Freaky Fast broadcast shout out without shouting out Coca Cola. So thank you, Coca Cola, for paying my bills. I got to thank you guys at Freaky Fast. I miss you guys on Thursdays more than you can imagine. It's just like you guys are the best. That was another reason I came back to this league, is so I could get back to watching Freaky Fast broadcast and be a part of it. I got to thank everyone in the league, Zach and Cedric and all these guys that run this league. WSSR is probably one of the top leagues on iRacing, so it feels really good to be a part of that. And looking forward to the rest of the season. And hopefully, I can talk to you guys again.
We hope for it as well. Coming away third is best finish of the season. It's the 21 of Ross Tatum. Enjoy this one, Ross, and hopefully we'll be seeing more success in the future.
Thanks, guys.
As we move away from our interviews here tonight, just going to talk to our top three, as tonight's race certainly had some high and low moments for some drivers, but it stayed clean and green for the most of it. Only one caution. It's because we had to end it off at the end of our stage, as it was all set in the well. Up front took the pole, won the stage, won the race. Behind him was some fast cats as well. We had the 51 of going to be Vincent Sora coming away in second. Third goes to Ross Tatum. Drew Jua fell down to fourth place with those old tires, tried his best to stay up there, as fourth was the best that he could. Ryan Kelly sneaking away with a fifth place position, as well as Nick Crawford finding some sneaky speed after getting by John Forbes. Kevin Rogers will take seventh. Eighth is where Forbes falls to. Ken Campbell, after his mistakes on pit road at the stage, he comes away with ninth. That's a great recovery. And Cedric Hunter coming away with a top 10 finish. Richard, a lot of big movers. Looking at it, looked like Brendan Colley was our biggest mover of the day.
Yeah, Brendan Colley in his return season back to the WSSR. Great to see him finally finding some speed and getting up there where we're used to seeing him, starting from all the way in the back of the pack. So a huge run for Brendan Colley, and he's got to be happy about tonight. But Larry Yingling back there in the 17th position, not the strongest of the runs he's had this season, but it could just be an off week for him. We'll see him back up top. And then you have Zachary Hall not doing a great run either tonight. Back in the 23rd, our defending champion. He must have struggled a little bit tonight, also a lap down. So very interesting spread throughout the field. Some faster drivers further in the back that we're not used to seeing back there, and some drivers up front that we're not used to seeing also. So Kansas definitely proved one great race to go watch for these drivers, to go back and see where they could have changed some things up. But hope everybody enjoyed this as well as we did. This was a great race, and seeing everybody with different strategies and different runs, and Seth, just a dominating performance tonight.
Extremely dominating performance, as we've got more racing action to give you this week. I want to say thank you to everyone that participated again in our charity race and just viewing racing, as we had an incredible come together this past Saturday, raising $2,551.25. It was awesome. We got plenty of incentives we still need to finish up and give out. Challenges I need to do, challenges Robert and Zach need to do. For thank yous for helping out in raising money for the Breakthrough T1D group. But for us here tonight, finishing up with the WSSR Cup Series, we've got more racing action heading tomorrow night, Thursday, the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series is back to racing action as we're slowly coming to the end of their season. Just 2 races left as we head to Phoenix in Homestead. Phoenix tomorrow night going to be the second to last race. Can Brandon Bowie find the extra points to turn this championship around and maybe steal it from Brandon Six? You'll have to find out tomorrow night. But for this evening, thank you for watching us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Richard, any final thoughts before we call it an evening?
Oh man, just a great run by all the drivers, a no caution for incident race, and it could be a indicator for the rest of the season. We do have some tough tracks coming up. The next 2 or 3 races are going to be a little tough for the drivers. So, but great race to watch tonight, great race to call, and some new drivers up there showing their prowess and wanting to make wins and moves here in the WSSR Season 10 championship. So it's going to be great to see the rest of this season, and I'm excited as we're coming up. I think we're halfway through the regular season, so I can't wait for the playoffs to start, but I also can't wait to see who else is going to make their chance to get into that top 16.
We got January, we have half of February, and then we're into the playoffs. It is going to be a quick month and a half for these drivers on Wednesday nights. We cannot wait for it. But for this evening, for myself, Sam Dyer, thank you so much for joining with us. For Richard Wolsifer, Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else a part of Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we say thank you so much for joining with us on your Wednesday evening. It's Seth Noel going to be taking the victory in his second race in the WSSR Cup Series. Everyone else better watch out. This 57 is going to try to take every win he can as a part-timer. But for those that are racing for a championship, it's time to hit your marks as we've only have 5 more races left. Phoenix is our next destination next week. But if you can't wait until then for more racing action, we got a preview of Phoenix. As tomorrow night, it's the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series. They have their second to last race of the season. Phoenix is calling their name. Is it Bowie or will it be Six? We'll have to find out tomorrow night on our next Freaky Fast broadcast.